Job 23. Job then spoke up and said, "Still, today my speech is bitter. My hand is worse than my sigh. If I only knew how to find him, I would approach his seat. I would set out my case before him. I would fill my mouth with arguments. I would know what words he would answer me, and I would understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me through superior power? No! He would only direct himself to me. There my uprightness would be proven before him, and I would be forever released from my judge. Behold, I go to the east, he is not there. To the west, I cannot discern him. Though he created the north, I do not see him there. He cloaked the south, so I cannot see him. For he knows the way that is mine. He has scrutinized me, and I have emerged like gold. My feet have held fast in his footsteps. I have kept his way and have not strayed. I do not move away from the commandments of his lips. I have cherished the words of his mouth more than my sustenance. He is unique, and who can contradict him? His soul desires, and he does. For he will complete my just allotment, and with him are many such things. Therefore, I am confounded by his presence. When I contemplate this, I am terrified of him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has confounded me, because I was not cut off before this darkness, and because he did not cover the blackness from before me. Job 24. Why could not time spans have been hidden from the Almighty? Why do those who know him not comprehend his days? People move boundary markers. They rob a flock and graze it for themselves. They carry off the donkey of orphans. They exact the ox of a widow as collateral. They steer the needy off the road. Together, the poor and the land go into hiding. Behold, like wild asses in the wilderness, they go out for their labor, searching for prey. The desert provides him food for his lads. They reap produce in the field. The wicked denude the vineyard. They let the naked spend the night unclothed, without a garment against the cold. They become drenched from the mountain's flow, clinging to a rock for lack of shelter. The wicked tear an orphan from the breast. They take collateral from off the backs of the poor. They let the naked go without clothing. They carry away a sheaf from the hungry. Between the rows of olives, they produce oil, and they trample vintages. Yet they go thirsty. From the city, the populace groans, and the souls of the slain cry out. But God does not lay guilt. They were among those who rebel against daylight, not recognizing his ways, nor settling in his pathways. At the light, the murderer arises to kill the poor and destitute, and at night he acts as a thief. The adulterer's eye awaits the night, saying, "No eye will see me," and he applies himself to sin in concealment. In darkness, burrowing into houses, by day they seal themselves shut. They do not know daylight. For both, the morning is the shadow of death for them, for they recognize the terror of the shadow of death. He glides swiftly, as on water's surface. Their portion in the land is forsaken. He does not turn to the ways of the vineyards. As drought and heat snatch melting snow, so the grave snatches sinners. The womb that bore him will forget him. He will be sweet to maggots, never more to be remembered. Wickedness will be broken like a tree. He oppresses the barren woman who cannot give birth and will not benefit the widow. Therefore God will sweep away each of the powerful ones with his might. He will arise one day and not believe that he will live. God grants him security, and he relies on it. But his eyes are fixed on their ways. They are exalted briefly, and then they are gone. They are crushed like all who are swept away, and they are snapped off like the top of a stalk. If this is not so, then who can prove me false and make my words into nothing? Job 25. Bildad the Shuhite then spoke up and said, "Dominion and dread are with him. He makes peace in his heights. Is there a number for his legions? Upon whom does his light not shine? How can man be considered righteous before God? How can one born of woman be considered pure? Behold, The moon passed by and cast no light, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. How much more so man, who is like a maggot, and a mortal who is like a worm? Job 26. Job then spoke up and said, How have you helped the one who has no strength? How have you saved the arm that has no power? What have you advised the one who has no wisdom? Yet you have dispensed counsel so liberally. To whom have you told new words? Whose breath has gone out from you? Will the dead spirits who are underneath the water be stirred, or those who dwell there? The grave is naked before him, and there is no covering for doom. He spreads out the north over a void. He suspends the earth upon nothingness. He bundles the water in his clouds, yet the cloud does not burst under them. He put walls around the throne. He spread out his cloud over it. He drew a boundary around the water's edge until light and darkness come to an end. The pillars of the heavens shudder and are astounded by his rebuke. With his strength he divides the ocean, and with his understanding he crushes its pride. By his breath the heavens were spread. His hand fashioned the earth-girdling serpent. Behold, these are but the tip of his ways. What is the least we could understand about him? Who can fathom the thunder of his mighty deeds? Job 27. Job continued declaiming his parable and said, As God lives, I swear that he has removed justice from me, and the Almighty has embittered my soul. But as long as my soul is within me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils, my lips shall not speak iniquity, and my tongue shall not utter deceit. Far be it from me, until I perish, to say you are right. I will not renounce my claim of innocence from myself. I have held fast to my righteousness, and I will not release it. My heart has never embarrassed me. May my enemy be treated like the wicked, and those who rise up against me like the iniquitous. For what is the hypocrite's hope, though he gains a profit? For surely God will cast away his soul. Will God heed his cry when misfortune befalls him? Can he delight in the Almighty, calling on God at all times? I will teach you what is in God's hand. I will not withhold from you that which is with the Almighty. Behold, all of you have seen it. So why is it that you embrace folly? This is the wicked man's portion with God, and the legacy that the brutal men will take from the Almighty. If his children multiply, it is for the sword. His offspring will not be sated with food. Those who survive him will be buried in death, and his widows will not weep. Though he may amass money like dirt and prepare a wardrobe as abundant as clay, he may prepare, but a righteous man will wear it, and a virtuous man will apportion his money. He builds his home like that of a moth, like the booth a watchman makes. A rich man may be bedridden, but not gathered in. When he opens his eyes, it is gone. Fright overcomes him like flooding water. A tempest abducts him by night. An east wind carries him, and he goes away. It blows him from his place. He casts misfortune upon him, and he will not show him mercy. From his hand he desperately flees. People from his place will clap their hands over him and whistle over him. Job 28. For there is a source for silver, and a place where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the soil, and copper is smelted from stone. He sets a limit to the darkness, and he investigates the end of everything, the source of gloom and the shadow of death. A river bursts forth from its normal flow to where it is unknown to human feet. It rises and surges over people. There is a land where food once grew, but its place was transformed, resembling fire. It was a place whose stones were sapphires, and it had dust of gold, on a route not known to the buzzard, that the vulture's eye had not seen. Lions' whelps did not traverse it, and lions did not pass over it. But God stretched out his hand to the flint and overturned the mountains from the root. He split open river channels in the rocks. His eye saw every precious thing. From the waters of the deep he fashioned rivers. He brings secret things out into the light. But as for wisdom, where can it be found? Which is the place of understanding? Mankind does not know its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The depth says, "It is not in me," and the sea says, "It is not with me." Precious gold cannot be exchanged for it, and its price cannot be weighed in silver. It cannot be compared to Ophir gold, or to precious shoham, or to sapphire. Gold and glass cannot approximate it, nor can its exchange be in golden articles. Corals and crystals cannot be considered. The pursuit of wisdom is more precious than pearls. The pitta of Cush cannot approximate it. The purest gold cannot be compared to it. Wisdom, from where does it come? Which is the place of understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all living things. It is concealed from the bird of the heavens. Doom and death say, "With our ears we have heard of its reputation." Only God understands its way, and He knows its place, for He peers to the ends of the world. He sees what is under the entire heavens, making a prescribed weight for the wind, apportioning water with a measure, when He makes a set allotment for the rain, and a path for clouds of thunder. Then He looks and recorded it. He prepared it and perfected it. And He said to man, "Behold, the fear of the Lord is wisdom, and refraining from evil is understanding."